have been in the car for a little bit already, but when I first jumped in, I wasn't only at like 0 mile range. Everybody knows just because it says you had 0 miles, you can milk out a couple more, like nothing. You got probably 5 more left, but I was legit. I was legit at empty. I didn't think I'd actually be able to make it to the gas station. So back to a full tank, just like me, man, full of fucking carbs. So now I get to go thrash. I feel like I've been saying thrash too much. How about rip into legs, hamstrings, quads, adductors I've been slacking on. Gonna get my adductors going again. Plus some calves at the end. So I'm gonna be here for a while. My lifts, if I got a lot of shit going on, I could be in here for, you know, sometimes 2 hours. If I kind of milk it, if I kind of take a little bit extra long between sets. And sometimes even between muscle groups, I might be prone to take a couple of minutes. Just, well, for one thing, just because I have to warm up whatever that new muscle group I'm about to hit is. But, if you've got a workout that's 2 hours, as long as it's 2 hours of stuff, I don't think you're in the wrong. When people say, if you're in the gym for longer than 45 minutes, it's because you're not training hard enough. If you can lift for more than that, then your sets are not at the intensity they need to be. Like, that kind of statement is based on logic. Like, it's not wrong fundamentally, but it just kind of depends on how many muscles you're hitting. Like, if I was just going to come in here to hit chest, and chest was all I had to do, I'd be comfortable with, probably even 30 minutes dedicated to just the working sets themselves. Maybe a 10-minute warm-up plus the warm-up sets. But if I've got a lot of muscle groups for some particular day, like, today ends up being 4, quads, hamstrings, oh my goodness, adductors and calves, that'll take a little while. So don't get discouraged if if it starts to feel like your workout is dragging. Let's say you have a full-on push day. So you did chest, solid lift, you're fresh. Then you did triceps. All right, you're still pretty fresh. They were a little bit pumped from chest, but still a really good tricep pump. And then now you're on the shoulders, and you can tell that you're not feeling as in the zone when you're doing your lateral raises as you were when you were doing like your pec flies or your tricep pushdowns earlier. Sometimes it can feel like you're in there for a while if you've got a big day, but try to be able to notice that you're kind of backing off a little bit on the intensity, and that should kind of be a little bit of like a cue for you to go, okay, holy shit, let me zone in. I just picked up all three reboot cards, and there's a squad in front of the van. I gotta fuck, is it just zone in? I feel like I'm missing a phrase. You get what I'm saying. So if you notice your sets are a little lackluster, you're being a little bit soft about them, you should at least have the you should have a firm enough grasp on your reality of your effort to notice that kind of stuff. I think a lot of people do not notice how intense they're lifting, because I'd say, the majority of people are just kind of in the gym, and they're just doing a set at moderate intensity, and then they rack it and whatever. They're on their phone. I'm not saying being on your phone is inherently a problem. I'm gonna be on my phone a little bit between sets, but I just mean that kind of mindset where you're just kind of there. You're not really into it. You're just kind of taking up space. And I'm not just saying that because it's a little bit of a downer for me to see. If I'm about to do a crazy set of leg extensions, or if I'm getting hyped up for like a set of squats or bench or whatever, and I'm really into it, and then I look over and I see a set of bicep curls done with 10 reps in reserve, doesn't really get me going. But you're just kind of missing out. Like, it is hard to do hard sets, but you kind of get something out of it too, and not just gains. Obviously, if I were to train at half the intensity that I have been training, I, I can say with certainty I'd be smaller than I am now for sure. So not only are you leaving gains on the table, but it just feels good for you, man. You know, I'm not into like really reading into all sorts of studies and whatnot, but no matter how sophisticated you are using Excel sheets and fucking computers, you're still just an animal running around. And physical exertion makes you feel good. You know, so perhaps not in the moment, but afterwards you get to be like, all right, that was a good one. Now I get to chill. You know, you almost get to enjoy your downtime in a little bit of a different way than normal, you know? Like, oof. Let's say I split my, or let's just say you got two dudes. One guy does nothing all day. You know, he eats his food, he does a little bit of homework or whatever, he goes to his job, you know, he just lives his life. And then he's got 3 hours of chilling before he goes to bed. The guy who did a super hard lift before those 3 hours, he's actually getting something out of that downtime. He's like, oh, okay, now I get to rest. Now I can kind of recover. And I mean, that just seems like a better scenario to me. I think I I've kind of been noticing this. All the sort of tips and like advice I end up saying about like, or you know, almost kind of like self-help style stuff, because I do end up kind of saying some of that shit in the car. I think it's kind of funny that no matter what kind of shit I'm saying, it's always like lifting biased. I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense, but I guess I'm disconnected with the demographic of non-lifters. I feel like I try not to interact with them too much, you know. So I think that is all I have to say about that. I can already feel the beta alanine getting me. I can feel it in the back of my hands too. That's my cue that some shit is going down on my insides and that I am ready to throw some serious weight around and inflate my hamstrings to the pressure of a 747's landing gear tire. My quads as well, but hamstrings first. So let's stop chatting, let's stop yapping, and just get started. If you've seen any of these hamstring lifts before, and you're well aware that the stack is not exactly where it should be weight-wise. So instead of kind of a light squeezing set with double leg to start, I think I'll do the stack on either leg, like I think 5, I don't know, I'll see how it feels, but I'll do like 5 reps on the right leg, 5 on the left, 5 on the right, 5 on the left, kind of rest pause style. And not necessarily because I like that style, but it just kind of, I mean, it lets me use a lot of weight, but also do both legs at once. You know, if I sit here and do the whole stack for a heavy set on one leg, then I gotta pause for a second, take a breath, and do the other set on the other leg, which I don't mind that, but sometimes it's a bit tedious lengthwise. So, you know, if you're doing super long single-sided sets, like it's cool you get to focus on one side at once, but I think the majority of your movements, you'll probably be better off just doing both sides at once. That's all I gotta say there. Let's throw the shit around. Okay. That was way too fucking heavy. There we go. Okay. Overestimated my strength a little bit on that one. Let's do a double leg set next. Yeah, I think let's just do a few more like that. So if you'll notice, before I get into those partials, the first few reps when I'm strong, I do hold it at the bottom for just a minute. Get an extra little squeeze in. I swear you'll notice a difference if you try those in your sets, or try add that style. I'll do some half reps on this one. Well, more like pause reps. Halfway down, stop for a second, then finish the rep. And then once I can't really do that anymore, I'll bust out partials. Okay, let's just do a couple more here. Maybe 3. I don't know, I'll see how it feels. But so far, hamstrings are on track to destruction. And I can say that with certainty. One more. Okay. All right. Hamstrings are done. Whew. Even just sitting here, I can't get comfortable. Let's find a leg extension. Sit there for a couple minutes to get warmed up first. Obviously, my knees are going to be on fire if I try to jump straight into, like, fucking upwards of the stack. So, half stack for a couple reps. A little heavier, a little heavier, a little heavier. Get exposed to the weight, get warm, but don't get tired. And then start the first working set fresh. Oh, gotta catch my breath before that, though. So I've sat here for a little bit, and the stack feels just a touch heavier than normal. So instead of starting off with 5 reps of the stack, then 5, 5, 5, 5, actually exactly like I started hamstrings with, I'll go a little bit lighter. I can definitely, I know in my mind I have a ego lifter's compulsion to want to do the stack on every machine. But, if you're actually doing your sets and you can tell, okay, maybe I should just do the right weight instead of jump up like 5 pegs just for the fuck of it, This is me being more of an enlightened lifter, be responsible, not being just an ego lifter and, gonna rip my patella off. But either way, hard couple reps. Let this side rest a little, do 5 on here, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. This has been a pretty solid opener for the past couple leg days that I've liked. What the God damn it. All right.
Well, that speech was fucking pointless. Okay. Let's just do a normal set of single legs for the next one. All right, a few more like that. Okay. Let's start with the left leg, because as you'll notice, those last few reps with the right leg, well, it's a lot easier because my left leg's a little bit smaller quad-wise. So I want to hit failure with this one, and then just match reps with the stronger side. That's in an effort to balance my shit out. Whew. Let's do one more just like that, and then I'll move on to a little bit of a variation. Okay. All right. Let's do a double leg set, supersetting with bodyweight sissy squats. I might only need to do one. Quads are nearly done. We're going to revert back to the beginning of the lift do 5 reps on one leg, 5 on the other, back and forth a few times, and then basically do a drop set by doing a few double leg reps, and then do another drop slash superset by standing up onto this upright and doing some bodyweight sissy squats. The goal on those, almost, I mean, fuck, the stretch at the bottom, I feel like it's trying to rip my quads in half. And that's in a good way. So let's play the Reiner and Bertolt theme and get crazy. No. All right. Let's go check the pump. The main parts of the lifts are now done. Oh. All right, so the hard part is done. I'd say calves and adductors are a little bit easier, especially compared to freaking quads. Hamstrings is also kind of easy for me. I never really have too much trouble getting a good hamstring lift in. The only time that sometimes it's just a little iffy is with quads. Sometimes quads feel a little off, which usually only has to do with my own preparation. Like if I'm dehydrated, I'm probably not gonna have the best quad day, even though I might have a pretty solid hamstring day. So let's move this guy over, get right in the good lighting. Oof. I mean, what do you think? I feel pretty goddamn pumped. Oof. I'd say the leanness factor, far too lean. Oh my goodness. But, oof. Now this line, that is fucking sick. You know, the bigger my hamstrings get, my quads get, all these fancy little parts of my legs just get cooler and cooler. Honestly, dude, fuck. I mean, this goes without saying, but I am in no way a leg skipping sympathizer. Really, I've got no fucking idea where you're coming from, except for what, laziness. I mean, let's think about it. It's a little bit warranted. You know, if you live somewhere where, let's say it's never really below, or it never really gets above like 60 degrees, then if your legs are always hidden under pants, I could see potentially how you'd be more inclined to back off on legs. You'd probably want to bias your shoulders, your arms, your chest, your back, you know, the classics. But dude, I just don't fucking get it, man. You know, it just, you're going for a badass car with a crazy ass candy paint job, and then you got a freaking 4-cylinder under the hood. You know, it's not a, I'll just say this, it's not my cup of tea. But I'm gonna go get adductors and calves done. I won't record every set just because, I mean, adductors and calves, it's really just 6 or 7 sets of the same thing back to back to back. But let's just get over there, get one of each clipped, and then get in the car once I'm all done. A very rare sighting, probably even rarer than working abs on camera. But adduction, you know, adductors, these fancy pants muscles on the inside of your thighs. I'd go so far, well, obviously all muscles serve all sorts of purposes and, you know, whatever the hell else. But they do serve 2 pretty important purposes for me, which kind of, you know, hype me up to not skip them. One is it's going to thicken up the inside of my legs. So when you look at me head on, you know, sure, your quads can kind of make your legs look big out here. But if you don't do any adductor work, you might be lacking on your inner thigh. And then, as a stabilizer for squats, dude, I feel so much more comfortable throwing heavy weight around when my adductors are being worked, at least on a pretty consistent basis. Like if I don't do adductors for a while and then I try squatting, dude, I feel just so fucking wobbly. I'll admit this though, there is one downside. Your legs are gonna fucking rub up against each other if they get big enough. So you might have to say goodbye to your briefs and buy some kind of some longer underwear just so you don't get that friction factor. But in exchange for some size on the legs, well worth it. So I've already sat here for like 5 sets. I'll just do one more and then we can go over and start calves. Okay. Okay. That's enough of that. When it comes to calves, you've got a couple movements at your disposal. Standing calf raise, seated calf raise like this, or, well, I mean, I guess you could do all sorts of, I'm just naming some basics. Or you could do calf raises on the leg press. I like the leg press one a lot, but I don't really want to do it today. So seated calf raises it is. I've already sat here for like 5 sets. Sometimes I like doing double leg, but honestly, I think my knees and my ankles are slightly, they're aligned a little bit differently. Or maybe it's just my calf development from like imbalances. Because obviously if you have a dominant side for, kicking or whatever else, then that side's going to be a little bit more advanced. But whenever I do double leg with calves, sometimes I feel like my right one is getting a little bit more work done, and my left one is a little bit smaller than the right one. So that's counterintuitive for me. So instead of doing double, I know it takes twice as long, but I'll do some single leg. Start with the left side first since it's smaller, and just wait until I get a burn. Another thing I like about doing single leg on this kind of machine is if I actually hit failure and I can't rack it, I can kind of use my other leg to, help me. The last thing I want to do is like hit failure and get totally stuck and have to somehow like sneak my leg out of the machine. I've never done it, but that sounds like a pretty rough scenario. Something I want to kind of stay far away from. Yeah. Okay. A few more like that, and then for you, let's get right in the car. But for me, I'm gonna camp out here a little longer. I am gonna go ahead and say that was a pretty good leg pump. That was a pretty freaking good leg pump. No squats. I'm gonna chill out on them a little bit. I keep jumping the gun on coming back to heavier squats, and it keeps tweaking my adductor. I think adding adductors in at the end of legs, plus giving them a little bit of time to chill with the heavy pressing, I think that'll be good for me. What I do think I want to add is probably some more of those sissy squats. Honestly, I think I should have done like the last 2 or 3 sets with the sissy squat drop set just for some added intensity. Plus, it's kind of just, putting more tension on my quad in the stretch position. I mean, fuck, more than any other movement that I do. Even leg extensions, when I get real low and I bottom out the machine, and squats, like even really heavy, it's not that same like depth stretch factor that the sissy squats give me. Oof. There's a hack squat at that gym too, and I do like doing the sissy squats on the hack squat, but I don't know, sometimes it kind of feels a little bit like, I love the feeling of doing a hack squat with the sissy squat style, but I kind of feel like I can't go hard enough
You know, like hitting legit failure on those, it's kind of tricky. So that's why I kind of like a drop set style. Like I do like those, but I want to do like really heavy leg extensions first to pre-exhaust myself, and then just fucking try to rip my quads off in a good way, of course. Hamstrings always good. I do want to add some more RDLs work, but there's not really. I love cable RDLs the most, and this gym used to have a cable RDL machine, which was badass, like a adjustable height platform, and then two handles, which you'd have to grab below your ankles. And something about being able to do an RDL like that with the weight loaded at my sides rather than like right in front of me with a barbell just lets me get a much better stretch. And I feel like my oh, little cat running around, love it. But so yeah, something about having the weight on the side of me and not having to worry about like following the path of my shin with a barbell or with dumbbells. I just like it. I just freaking like it. So really, I should just try to find some kind of alternative to do there, which which would fit my needs, but nothing really available. At one of my home gyms, I always get the cable RDLs going because there's a an adjustable cable arm, like when there's like the two arms which move independently. I can put those way down low, pretty close together, and then bring in like an exercise block or something, and pretty much recreate that one machine. But it's never the same, you know. Oof. When we went to so I don't think these videos are posted yet, but on the Hostile YouTube channel, or it might be the Fuad Abiyad Media channel. Kind of keep an eye out on both of those. But we recorded all sorts of shit when we went to California, and we went to Gold's. Gold's was cool, super historical, but later we kind of did a two-a-day. We did chest, and then we did shoulders at night. And dude, the gym we went to do shoulders at was fucking sick. It was a Metroflex. They had a UFC cage right in the middle, and they had this. They had mats, like I couldn't tell you how many, but big enough for any kind of jujitsu dude to, lose their mind. But that gym was fucking sick. Hardcore machines, and then the one that really kind of made me go, oh, really put a blip on my radar was they had an overhead tricep machine, which I really like. It was oh dude. Sure, you could try to like grab a cable and do like, overhead tricep with a rope, or kind of stand like with the cables right behind me and like do overhead like that with a straight bar. But it is nothing compared to that machine. Dude, I need to fucking either find one or just get one. Oh shit. Like something about it is awesome. I tried it at this one gym in Hilton Head. Forget the name of it, but it was nuts because it was just a totally different stimulus than I've done before. Maybe just because I haven't used that machine, but the stack honestly felt kind of light, and I was like, oh, okay, I don't know if I really like this. But then I do, rep 5, trying to squeeze, get a good stretch, rep 10, and then when I hit rep like 12 or 13, I just like hit a wall, and my triceps were just like on fire, totally burnt out. And I was like, holy shit, dude, very nice. So if there's a couple of machines which you haven't tried out before, you have only knowledge to gain and potentially gains to gain by getting on them. Worst case scenario, you try a new machine and you're like, ugh, I was like, fucking, ugh, I don't want to do that. And then you move on to something you like. But best case scenario, holy shit, that was the greatest pump of my life. And then you go home and you win the lottery. I guess that would be the best case scenario. But you get the sentiment that I'm trying to drive home. So, cardio in the morning, and then I'm going to try to fight this cough. It's kind of fucked. Like, I don't feel sick, but I'm just so gummed up. I think I really need. Oh, what would be good for me is a steam room. Just clear out my fucking sinuses. That would be nice. Maybe I'll sit in the shower extra long. Just pointing at the wall as hot as it gets to kind of recreate it. Yeah. I love it. This gym had a sauna, but, college gym with a sauna, I mean, thousands of kids running around in there, doesn't really add up to a good mix. Plus, it would just be fucking totally packed all the time. So, limited to what I've got around me. But that was a really good leg day. I'm sure I'm going to feel it tomorrow. Those leg extensions, the heavy single leg sets, dude, that was feeling pretty freaking good. I love squats. I can't speak highly enough of squats, but if I had to pick one movement for quads, I'm going to have to pick leg extensions. It's what I've done the most. Like, squats are badass. Squats are where you're definitely going to build a lot of overall mass on your legs because you're working a ton of your legs at once. Right? You got your glutes, your hamstrings are kind of tying in because when you get to the top, you're kind of like pulling your hamstrings in. Quads, of course, adductors, your calves just from having so much pressure on them. Squats are badass. But, the name of the game with bodybuilding training, in my opinion, and I think in many people's fucking opinion, is isolation. So I'm never going to do a movement where I feel my quads more and my quads more directly than just fucking leg extensions. So that's definitely number one on my exercise selection choice. If I went to a gym and I had legs and they didn't have a squat rack, I'd be like, okay, I mean, that's kind of fucking weird, but whatever. But if they didn't have a leg extension, I'd be like, what the fuck? Going somewhere else. So tomorrow's going to be chest. Pretty quick lift. I mean, I was in there for a long time. Now, of course, a lot of that, like honestly, an hour and a little bit of change, was just me chatting after my lift was done. But, 4 muscle groups, that took a while. But I felt rather energized from getting a lot of rest, even in my compromised state. So, just keep on grinding. Keep on freaking grinding. If you're the type of guy who, going to the gym every day it's a little bit more on the end of a struggle, and you're like, oh shit, fuck, should I really go? Or if you're hemming and hawing about it, that's your cue to say, what the fuck am I doing? Get in the car, drive off. I'm a little bit spoiled because I'm an obsessed nutcase, so it's never really a question. Honestly, even if oh yeah, shit. I totally cut my hand open. Absolute improper handling of a cutting tool. I think it was 2 summers ago. Oof, dude. So I had to go in and get like reconstructive surgery on it. It's like my whole thumb pad fucking sliced like a total idiot. I was losing my mind. But, they sewed me up just in the ER that day. And luckily enough, I had legs. So I'm like, all right, well, fuck, still going to the gym. But the day that I had the actual kind of reconstructive surgery, they put me under, which, when I woke up, I felt all right. But the only problem was they gave me a nerve block. So that's where instead of just giving you like general anesthesia and like, painkillers during the surgery and onward, they just gave me this massive injection up here on my shoulder where my, I guess the central nerve in my arm kind of like connects to my spine or whatever. So over the course of like 15 minutes, my hand just went number and number and number and number. So once I got home from that, I had legs again, and I was gonna drive to the gym, but I couldn't feel or move my arm at all. So, proper, I guess common sense maybe took a little bit of a hold on me and made me say, all right, maybe you should just fucking stay home, rest up. But whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I think in terms of long-term, continual appearances to the gym, the more of a nut you are about it, the easier it's going to be for you. And honestly, the more enjoyable. It would suck if every day I had to like convince myself, like, okay, you got to go to the gym, man. Come on, you got to finish this workout. You said you were going to do it. Now you got to do it. Come on. I mean, if that's you, if you got to go through that every day, fuck. I say you got to change your mentality and just, I mean, to an extent, kind of don't even think about it. like fake it till you make it style. Pretend to be excited to go. Like if you get home from whatever you got to do during the day and it's kind of your scheduled time to go to the gym, if instead of just like floating around the house for like 3 hours watching TikToks or, you know, whatever, just kind of doing nothing, if you can just jump straight in the car, take your pre, get in there, do your lift, put a big fat smile on your face. I mean, just by kind of doing that, it's gonna make you feel better. You know, you'll feel better about it. It's like when you're I got this speech a lot when I was in high school and like elementary school and stuff. Before you go do a project presentation or something like that, they'd always tell us, all right, you know, before you do it, make yourself big. Spread your arms out wide, make yourself look big, make yourself comfortable. You know, stuff like that to kind of make you feel, holy fuck, there's a deer just waiting to jump out of the road and smack into me. But no, like, you know, make yourself feel comfortable. And then when you do it, you're gonna feel better. You know? Let's just think about this, man. Let's split myself into two universes. If in one universe, before I go to my lift, I'm like, oh yeah, I want this fucking pump. I don't care if I'm a little bit tired. I'm gonna go in there and throw this shit around. Yeah, fuck. I want to be more tired just so it feels better. I don't think I would say that, but you get what I'm saying. Or, you know, this version of me that's like, oh God, I've got to lift. Ugh. Ugh. All right, whatever. Who do you think's gonna have a better lift? You know, even if they do the same sets and reps, which I mean, you definitely those two scenarios, the lifts would look completely different. The guy who's excited about it is gonna do way more reps and go harder, just have a better time than the guy who's fucking like. But let's say the lifts were similar. You know, the dude who's enjoying himself more, he's gonna have a better time, and honestly, he's probably gonna make better gains because he's gonna be more into it. You know, nobody just becomes a total baller by kind of taking a back seat to whatever they're doing, right? You never see a slacker just fucking walking around like a total beast. And even if you do, even if by some odd anomaly there's a genetic beast, that's an odd anomaly. All right, obviously holy shit, obviously anomalies exist, but you know, look at the fucking general populace, right? The harder you go, the better you'll do. Simple. I think that's a perfect finisher. So I'm gonna go home and try to slam as much ice cream and ground beef as possible. And then I'm probably gonna pass the F out. So I'll see you next time for chest. God dang it.